Welcome to Rick's Corner, brought to you by Old School Labs, the brand I trust and the only one I put my name to. Use my code drasin12 on the link below.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. Today we have a very rainy day in Los Angeles. There's a virus going around the world, as you all know, and the ambiance of the city and of the feeling of outside is like
great.
Yeah, it's like nothing I've ever experienced, other than the fact it was like the day that we had our earthquake here, and I drove around town and everything was upside down and backwards, and it was an awful feeling. Yep. So when you're going through this, and all of you are going through it, and your hands are tied, and you can't go to restaurants, and you can't go to malls.
And you can't earn money.
You can't earn money, and you can't eat.
You can't buy toilet paper.
You can't go to toilet paper, and you can't go to the gym.
I just came from the grocery store, and the shelves were all empty.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few things there, but surprisingly, and people were relatively polite, but, you know, everyone's got that sort of sense of dread.
Well, what's the point of all the toilet paper?
It's like, why would you be so afraid of that? It's like,
of all things,
I'm more afraid of like not being able to wipe my butt than buy food.
I had a bidet installed in my toilet 3 years ago. That works perfect. That's fine. I don't even need toilet paper.
Ah, okay, there you go.
So there's ways around it, but I mean, they're making such a big issue out of this.
Yeah, and you can use a washcloth.
You can do that, or you just let the toilet paper be sold to all the assholes.
Yeah.
All right, so the thing is that now we're kind of tied. We can't go to the gym. Maybe we go every morning, and that's what we're used to doing. And you have to find something to do with your time. Otherwise, you can get depressed, because lack of exercise and staying home and like in a cabin all day long for the next couple of weeks, you're going to get depressed.
Well, and the thing is, we were talking about this before we started. You know, so much of what we do on a day-to-day basis defines our identity.
Yeah.
So when our routine gets disrupted, our identity feels threatened.
Yes.
Who are we? What do we live for? What do we prioritize? All becomes a little bit murky.
Right. You need to have a hobby, something to keep you busy at home. You need to have something to do to exercise at home, so at least you feel human again, get some circulation going. And there's ways to do this. People have written to me and said, well, what do I do with the gym clothes? What do I do about workouts? Well, if you don't have a home gym, I used to, but I don't now. But I remember when I was on the road wrestling and I would go from hotel to hotel and I couldn't find a gym, I'd take bands with me.
Elastic bands.
Elastic bands.
Yeah.
Back.
Or you mean musical bands?
No, that was another band I took. Yeah, I had springs. There were 5 springs and handles, and you could take the spring off and 2 off and 3 off, or use 2 or 1 for the difference of resistance. And I would hook it on a door, and I'd find all kinds of exercises to do.
Right.
And I got a pretty decent workout.
You know, those of you who know what I teach, which is the biomechanics, oftentimes expect me to say the best or nothing. The ideal biomechanical exercise or nothing, and that would be wrong. I don't recommend that. If you can't get to the gym, you should do something.
Something.
Anything. Squats, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, side bends, jogging, bicycle, anything to keep yourself active and healthy, circulation. Are they the best things? No. But, you know, and I know and I recommend what is best and ideal when you can do it. Why not? When you can do it, do it.
You're not going to grow on bands.
Yes.
You might get some muscularity out of it. I don't know. I mean, it can.
Well, you'll get some circulation, and it'll be good for your endorphins and your sense of well-being. It's better than nothing.
Yeah. When I was wrestling and I did it, I actually stayed in really good shape because that's all I did for like a month.
Yes.
And then again, you have to look at it this way: being off from the gym for the next week or two because it's mandatory is also kind of be a blessing because your body catches up with itself.
It may be time for a rest anyway.
Exactly. My shoulders have been hurting me for months. Oh my God, they just can hardly put a shirt on. I think I need some time off. But will I take the time off? No, not unless I'm forced to.
Not unless you have to. And I do want to say that, you know, I think some of us use working out a little bit like a psychological crutch. Mm-hmm. And I think that not being able to work out, I think, can be viewed as a good thing because it forces us to stop and say, who are we? What defines us? Is it really only the size of my bicep that defines me? What is it that I want to identify me other than just whether or not I'm perceived as muscular? So I think this is an opportunity for us to take inventory and ask ourselves, are we as smart as we need to be? Do we know the English language or whatever grammar is appropriate for your language as well as possible? Do you know everything you need to know about history or science? Catch up on reading, catch up, phone calls with friends that you haven't talked to for a long time. Use the time in some positive way.
I have mentioned this before because people have said to me, and they always say something like this, well, you're not as big as you were, back in the day. I said, well, it's not important. Maybe then it was.
Right.
But it's not now. Now it's just to stay in shape and stay lean. I was telling this girl I had on yesterday that I'm exactly the same body weight today as I was in 1969 when I moved here. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not to be a pound heavier.
Right.
I have been a pound heavier. I have been 20, 30 pounds heavier, but there was muscle,
Right.
and I was huge. But then I dropped back down on the normal weight I was when I moved here, which to me seems to be pretty healthy.
Right.
And I'd rather be that than out of shape and not.
Right. By the way, speaking of being physically disadvantaged for whatever reason, Chris Dickerson.
Yes, what happened?
Well, apparently Chris Dickerson had, he broke his hip. He fell and broke his hip. And while he was in the hospital, he had a heart attack. He's alive. I think, as we speak, he's alive. But we are asked by all those who love him, including Bill Pearl, to say a prayer for Chris Dickerson. You may know him as a former Mr. Olympia winner. In fact, I think he was the first ever Mr. America winner.
Yeah.
And just a super, super nice guy.
One of the best. I saw him down in Venice Beach several years ago, and he was using 2 canes.
Yeah, he had
He had a white suit on.
I think he didn't even look like the same Chris Dickerson.
No,
I didn't recognize him, but I think he at that time had hip replacement.
Oh, that's why. He had a white suit on and gray hair, and I said, who is that in glasses? I said,
Yeah.
well, that's Chris Dickerson. I said, I never would have known.
Yeah, right. That's right.
He was built a lot like Bill Pearl.
Well, he was trained by Bill Pearl. He had magnificent calves. You might remember his calves.
I do.
He wasn't very tall. He isn't very tall, I should say. He's, I think, maybe 5'6" or
Maybe.
7.
That's pushing it.
But just beautiful skin tone, beautiful muscle. Not gargantuan muscularity, but just real aesthetic, pleasing shape, beautiful lines, especially legs, beautiful posing.
He and Bill took their physique shots in the gym on Manchester underneath the skylight.
Right.
And that skylight produced some really nice shadows on the body.
Yeah.
It made your skin look like silk.
I've always liked that natural lighting.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. And people don't do that today. And I mean, you go to the contest now that you actually are on the board down there, and you see these guys spray tan with orange. They're orange.
Right.
I'm sure you did that too, right?
Well, what I do is, and not everyone can do what I do, I have skin that tans very good naturally.
Yeah.
In other words, I go out for 30 minutes a day, 4 or 5 days a week, and I'm able to get pretty darn dark.
Oh, yeah.
But under the lights, you'd still get a little bit washed out, so I use the very, very, very lightest skin color that I can find just to add a little bit of color. But I don't like the idea of going from white skin, from being pale, to just putting on layers of insta tan.
Oh my God! I see people do that.
Especially when it's not a believable color.
And they're like burnt orange, and they're all white around the eyes. Years ago, people used to use baby oil and iodine.
I remember that.
It would tan you. You could lay in the sun, and you get the iodine would make you browner.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it's
and it would disinfect your skin.
That's true. I like the good.
Speaking of infections,
a good natural tan.
Oh yeah, I do too. Yeah, and unfortunately, not everyone lives in an area where there is sun.
Yeah.
And not everyone is lucky enough to have skin that tans well, that doesn't burn.
No.
I mean, Kent Waller probably could never get a legitimate tan, could he?
If he would have connected all of his freckles together, he'd have been one color.
Yeah, right.
I told him that once.
Well, red-haired people,
Yeah.
obviously have very non-pigmented skin.
But I did hear with this virus that's out, sunlight and oxygen kills it.
That's right. Well, yeah, that's right. The ultraviolet light does have an effect that stops it from growing, from multiplying. So that's why, in general, in the summer months, wherever you happen to live, in the summer months, there's usually less viruses that happen.
Would it be beneficial to use a tanning bed?
It probably would.
Probably, huh?
It probably would, yeah. Now, having said that, I doubt it would keep you from getting it if someone sneezed on you. And I doubt if you got it, you could get rid of it with just a tanning bed.
Yeah.
But it probably mitigates its growth rate.
Yeah, I've been doing the colloidal silver.
What is that?
It's a liquid, it's silver, and you can take it in, like eyedroppers on your tongue, and it kills any bug or virus or bacteria in the body.
Oh.
And the reason why silver is...
I heard colon and silver, and I thought, this doesn't sound good.
Colloidal.
COL is the part I heard.
Yeah, because that's what you wanted to hear. You can sit on a quarter and get the same thing. So if you're having surgery, they used to use, in some cases, silver threads, silver stitches, because the silver wouldn't let any bacteria or infection set in.
Oh, that's
It
interesting.
killed it before it even started. So I have a bottle of colloidal, and I bought it from, I guess it was Amazon a while back, but I took it several years ago for a sore throat. Went away in one day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I am interested.
Yeah.
I know a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
about
well,
all
that's
that
why everyone gravitates toward it. That's the reason I hang around you.
Yeah, I get that. Now, the other thing is, being off for the next 2 weeks, and we hope it's only 2 weeks, there's no reason to go out and cheat on your diet every day, because you get depressed. And you say, oh my God, I don't know what to do with myself. So you'll turn to eating. So you'll keep things in the house. If you can get into the market and get through the crowds and through the shopping carts to buy yourself some cookies or something, which is going to be highly impossible. But don't keep that stuff in the house and eat it out of depression, because you'll just end up getting heavy and you'll get more depressed.
Well, and there are people who say, if I can't work out, what's the point of eating right? But there is a point.
Yeah.
There's a really good point to eating right, even aside from being able to lift weights.
I think so too.
Yeah.
If you stay on a certain regimen on your diet and on some exercise at home, when you go back to the gym when they open up again April 1st, you'll be ahead of the game.
Yeah. Like our message here today is don't let yourself get down. I mean, it's easy to do that. It's easy to get depressed. It's easy to get sad. We've had lots of emails that I said, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah.
And our message here is just, don't let yourself get down. Be positive. Spend your time in other ways. Don't think that skipping the workouts for a month or two is going to permanently make you lose your muscle. You will eventually get it back soon enough because of muscle memory.
Yeah.
So don't sweat. Do what you can with the elastic bands and some body weight exercises, and then spend the remainder of time reading my book.
Don't look in the mirror and think, oh my God, I'm getting smaller. What am I going to do? Pretty soon you'll be like a tiny little guy walking out the back door.
And slap yourself on the hand if you think that your self-esteem is directly connected to the size of your bicep.
Which should not be. Should not be.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't really matter. I'm smaller, I wear a long sleeve shirt, I don't care.
Right.
It's the face that counts.
That's right, in the brain.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. I think that's a good way to solve something like this, because we're going to go through it. The whole world is going through it, and we all have to have some way to keep ourselves sane and grounded in some sort of exercise. I mean, you can do push-ups against the floor. You can lift your feet up on a chair and do push-ups at a vertical angle, then do the cables with triceps or biceps and side laterals, and then you can find it. In fact, go on Google and look up cables and bands and see the exercise that you're able to do.
Right.
They have illustrations.
Yeah, right, that's right. And use the time. I mean, there's probably things that you have been saying, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, because I've got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, now's the time to get those things done.
Yeah, like my garage, for example. I haven't been out there in a year, and I've got all kinds of stuff from the
Yeah,
old
clean the
days.
garage, get some reading done, take some piano lessons.
I have all the history of bodybuilding out there. I need to bring it and scan it and share with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's been rainy, and I haven't felt good on my leg, and now I've got the time to do it. I'm going
That's
to
right.
do it.
That's right. Take advantage of it.
Yep. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, you guys. That's it. I hope you...
We're uplifted.
Yeah, uplifted. I hope we answered your question about training, because you can definitely find something to do.
Doing something that isn't ideal is still better than doing nothing.
Which makes me think just only one indoor sport you can try if you like. If you can find a nice 25-year-old, you'll have a good time.
Yeah. You would think of that.
Of course I would. Why not? On a rainy, cold day, having
That's
some
right.
nice...
It'll be another baby boom. This is going to lead to another baby boom now.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next time on Rick's
Great
Corner.
being here.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed the video brought to you by Old School Labs. Use my discount code DRASIN12 on the link below at oldschoollabs.com. Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin. Personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world. And I'm the guy that drew it. And I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interests as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.